4 tips to successfully manage change at work and at home. Let's be honest, change is part of life, and it's really important that all of us learn to manage change well. So how do we do it? So whether or not you're in an organization, maybe you've got a new CEO coming, you're thinking about how do we kind of really help that transition with this new CEO and helping our teams manage that change. Maybe on the family side, you're about to move or going into a new school or a new camp. And the reality is when we actually enter a season of change, you know what most of us feel? Anxiety. Anxiety and change are besties, because the second that we are kind of entering something that's unknown, our brain starts kind of going off like, well, what if, and it tends to create a lot of anxiety. So there's a few things you really want to do as leaders, both at work and at home, to really help your team and your family manage this change well. So 4 tips. Really, number 1 is you want to communicate. You know, communication is always really important, but especially during seasons of change, we want to kind of dial up that switch, because what happens is if we're not communicating, people will start kind of putting their own narrative. They will kind of start filling in their own blanks. And so it's really important that you're communicating a lot. Number 2 is explain the why. Why are you having this change? You know, if you think about your new CEO, well, we're having this change because we think the CEO is going to be a great fit. We're moving because this is a wonderful opportunity for our work, but also in terms of, you know, some great schools and great community. So you want to kind of really vision cast and talk about the why. That being said, not all change is upgrades. And there are some of you for sure that are watching right now. They're like, Karen, I'm experiencing change, but this is not positive change. I've just lost my job, or I'm going through a divorce, and I've gone from this bigger home to a smaller home. So what's my why in that? You can still apply the same principle, even though it's a lot harder. And I want you to try to have an optimistic with a realistic lens. This is not toxic positivity. And so if you've lost your job, I want you to think to yourself, what could be your why? Your why, your change of how you look at the change. And maybe your why is, this was super difficult, this is super painful, and I'm also going to look at it as an opportunity to kind of design what my next chapter is going to look like. Or maybe in the divorce, you know, you tell your kids, you know, our why we've decided to go into this smaller home is because we feel this is better for our family, and we want to be nice and close together, and we've also prioritized being in this home, so you have access to this particular school in this district. You can still talk about a positive why with a realistic tone, okay? And this is not toxic positivity. This is optimism with realism, okay? So that's kind of step number 2. Number 3 is acknowledge how people feel. You're going to have teams and family members that in seasons of change, they're going to have a lot of feelings. They're going to feel nervous, fearful, anxiety, overwhelmed, scared. And so you want to acknowledge it is okay for all of us in this season of change that we feel this way. That's normal, and that's okay. And so acknowledging people's feelings is really important. That's tip number 3. Tip number 4 is create a plan. Plans reduce anxiety, and we need them in seasons of change. And so talk about, you know, design your plan, communicate that to your team and to your family. This is our plan in this season. Be focused, yet flexible. This is very important, because when we're in that season of change, lots of things can kind of start popping up. So you want to be focused yet flexible. And that package that will really help in terms of your families feeling more secure and comforted in the season of change.